Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode. We just finished Bulgarians and realized that men at arms are not part of today's meta anymore because it's simply too slow. And now, the next civ we're trying to discuss are Japanese. Great, another men at arms civ. But I actually do think that Japanese are probably the only civ at the moment which is really capable of doing a solid men at arms rush. First of all, the infantry attack speed is insane. So their men at arms are really strong and are potentially the strongest men at arms in the game. And then they also have an economy bonus. Mill, lumber camp, mining camp cost minus 50%, which kind of makes it that they might be able to hit a good timing. I was thinking the following: opening men at arms into defensive archers and walling up the base and then playing standard archer game from there seems like a very solid game plan. Let's think about the composition of Japanese. It's great to go for Arbalester to counter infantry, to counter too much cavalry with halberdier, and then adding maybe capped ram, maybe traps. Traps for the trap war, then capped ram and halberdier for the late game. That's just fine. If need be, I do have access to light cav, but they are not the greatest. And going cavalry archer is also something which Japanese can consider. So a pretty broad tech tree, but for the most part, it's pretty streamlined towards archer play and halberdier. And well, if something strange happens, I can always go to my power unit, which is the champion or the samurai. But for the most time, the game plan is just very simple. And there is just very few situations where I can't get there. I mean, if I'm, for example, facing Britons, I need to play Elite Skirm. I can then also play Elite Skirm Cavalier, add Rams and all that. Like, that is an option. It's just that the late game is going to be a little bit difficult without plate binding armor versus really good archer civs. So that's where I see Japanese struggling. But I think the game plan sort of is pretty simple with Japanese. There's just one funny thing: I can always add towers for additional map control with the amazing Yasama technology, which is not expensive at all, but makes the towers just amazing. So much for the Japanese game plan overall, which I think is pretty straightforward though. And now let's take a look at the economy bonus. Mill, lumber camp, mining camp cost minus 50. As all of those buildings cost 100 wood, I think. Let me double check where the economy buildings are here. 100 wood. And I would make 2 lumber camps and 1 mining camp and 1 mill. That is already 200 wood saved before feudal age. That's amazing. That leads me to the conclusion that I don't need a total of 5 and then 3 more, like 8 on wood for the men-at-arms rush. But I might be able to get away with 7. And that would lead me to not playing a 22 pop Man-at-Arms Rush, but a 21 pop Man-at-Arms Rush. It just seems so logic to me that I probably don't need to try it out in a scenario. I try it out in the rank game just like that. Just putting 3 onto wood, then making it 5 and building the second lumber camp for 2, maybe a little bit later, just something like that. I'm not too decided on this yet. But if that works, probably the Japanese man-at-arms rush is A, fast enough, and B, powerful enough to make sense in the meta. Let's try that out. I'm excited.